I believe it was last podcast where E came on here and he talked about you got to take things slow, right? When we were talking about the whole bloodline thing. And now on this pod, he just want to run right into the thing. He's like, let's not have a cold open. Let's not have any questions. Let's just go right into the thing. So he trying to hit hard on this episode. So this, I'm going to give it right to him. This is episode 170 of the TFW podcast. That's Freakin Wrestling. I'm your favorite talker out here in these streets. Your host, Matt, joined by my two fantastic co-hosts. I do have E right over there. I do have Rhodesia right over there that had on a magnificent robe right before we pressed record. And I wanted to make sure she took it off. And she looks fantastic as normal. So we got that. What should I talk about before we get right into it? I don't have anything to talk about. Eshaun said he wanted to hit it hard. Damn it, Eshaun. Floor is yours, man. What do you have that is pressing so hard that you say, you know what? To hell with the foreplay. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, and I was trying to tell these guys, look, we old, man. Sometimes you got to let it easy. Man, I was like, hey, we need a co-open. I'm like, sometimes you just got to go in there. Sometimes you just got to put it in. And anybody with kids, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes it was late at night. The mood is right. It's just ready. And you make it happen. That's what we got to do tonight, y'all. We got to just make it happen. You got to make it happen. So I want to talk to y'all about Raw. I got really excited. We talked about when does the Bloodline Wars start?
Mm-hmm.
When does it start, right? I think it started on Monday. We had Jey Uso show up on Monday Night Raw. Wanted to talk to Mr. Yeet. Jey looked at him, said, nah, man, I'm good.
Fuck on somewhere.
He said, everything get on out of my face, fam.
Fuck on out of here.
Like, right? So it started, y'all. It started a little bit sooner than I expected. But I think we have our answer. How does Jey Uso lose that championship?
Oh, yeah.
Because this is now. So this the storms is coming, right? Yep. I feel like this is Jay Cargill already. A storm is coming, right? Jey wasn't the first person. I feel like any day now you're gonna start seeing the new bloodline popping up on Raw, trying to take Jey out before he can join this war. What say you guys? Do you think this is the start of this war?
Now, when you were just introing the pod there, I really feel like Paul Heyman and the Bloodline is taking everything really from Marvel. Think about it might have been Infinity War. No, the beginning of Endgame. We thought last Mania was Endgame, but at the beginning of Endgame, what happened? Yeah, I remember when, or maybe it was Infinity War.
Everybody died.
When Chris Evans. Yeah. So this was actually Endgame. Chris Evans goes to Tony, and he's like, "Hey, Tony, we need you on our team." Tony's like, "Nope. I got a family. I got a daughter here. Hell no, I ain't doing that. I survived the snap one time. I'm probably not going to survive another snap." They are literally taking this straight out of the Marvel MCU. I'm still here for it too.
So, I got a couple of thoughts on it. So let's start with SmackDown. First, before we even start at SmackDown, let's start before that. Kudos to WWE. Because they've been sprinkling SmackDown stars on the Raw and Raw stars on the SmackDown without us kind of even really paying attention that, hey, what's going on here? Part of it is the Saudi match where we got champion versus champion. But even kind of before that, they were doing it a little bit. And I think they did it so we wouldn't be thinking how or why can Jimmy go to Raw or how and why can Jey go to SmackDown. And it kind of flows. So shout out to them for that. Thought that was pretty cool. Start on SmackDown. I do want to talk about Roman's promo. Wasn't the best Roman promo. Maybe one of Roman's worst promos in the last year and a half or so. I don't know if... So to piggyback on what you're talking about. Hey, is it here? Yes, it's here. But we had talked about on a couple pods ago how it felt like, even though we got a month and a half until Survivor Series, felt like they're going to have to go 0 to 100 to get to where we need to get to. And that was kind of a little bit of what I felt in Roman's promo. He said what he had to say. Of course, it felt like it wasn't scripted, quote unquote, whatever that is anymore now. But it kind of was like, all right. It didn't have any meat and potatoes to it. The meat and potatoes was Jimmy saying, like, look, man, I acknowledge you, but that's it. Like, we need somebody else. We need help, man. You know, a lot of I told y'all to go buy houses and cars. I was kind of like, oh, all right, man, whatever. But the physicality was there. It was great. So that happens on SmackDown. Then on Raw, we get Jimmy going to Jey, and Jay's like, dude, I'm straight on you.
Hey, wait, but before you go to Raw, what did Roman say to Jimmy? He said anybody but the Yeet Man.
No yeet is what
No
he said.
Yeet. No Yeet.
Which was great because the crowd started chanting yeet. He just said no yeet.
No yeet.
So you look at the calendar. They are promoting Jimmy or Jey versus Bron for Monday on Raw.
Oh,
E, you said last pod. Man, let Jey run that title. Bron will be all right. After seeing SmackDown, after seeing Raw, do you think Jey is going to successfully defend that title against Bron Breakker next week on Raw?
I hope so, man. I want to see Jey. I know we have to get to the Bloodline Wars. I know it sounds like it's already started. It seems like it's already started. But I want a nice, lengthy run with Jey. Jey is a superstar, man. He is a main event Jey Uso. Like, I want to say a couple years ago, I'm like, man, I don't want to see Jimmy and Jey break up because I feel like they're the greatest tag team of all time, in my opinion, just for me. It's just my opinion. I'm not going to go into a fact check and nothing like that, just for me. But, man, I can't see Jey returning to a tag team with Jimmy at this point. I feel like right now he has elevated his stand to where he is more than a tag wrestler. He's a singles guy. And he's a main event singles guy. And I want to see him have a main event legit run. No pun intended. I want to see him have a main event run for as long as he can have. So I feel like a loss to Bron will kind of derail that. And he kind of just go back into, having to, fight for the spotlight with Roman. And he got the Jey thing going on. I know we got to get there, but I want to see Jey be on his own doing this thing. And matter of fact, I had texted you guys a couple of days ago. Like that boy Brian, he cuts some nice promos, man. I don't know who's writing them for him, but he's doing this thing. They feel real when he's doing it. And he told that man, Jey Uso, he said, look, you said you want to do it on your own. Well, you're going to get your ass kicked on your own come next Monday. Like, I'm paraphrasing. I need to actually pull it up. But the way he said it, I'm like, damn.
That's close. That's close to what he said.
He done got this boy. That was Brian is gonna be good, man. Like I said, he don't necessarily need a win because he's young, he's fresh, like right, and you kind of still feel like he's kind of getting there, right? So if you start watching this from a fan's perspective, he's new, he's fresh on the scene, he's kind of going through his ascension to the top spot, right? So if he were to dip down, it would feel okay. Right? Versus somebody who's been struggling to get to the top and they fall off. It's kind of like, you're going back to where you belong. This is where you've been this whole time. But Brian is on an upward trajectory. I don't think he's going to be, I don't know which one it's going to be. I don't know which one of y'all said it, but one of y'all said that Brian's going to be a bigger star in WWE than Cody Rhodes in 2 years. I ain't going that far. I feel like that was full of the hyperbole when it was said, but Brian is definitely a future star. He don't need to win, but we'll see.
So I think I said 3 years.
Love it.
Yeah, he'll be a type star. Oh, you know Hyperbole, how we get down.
Hyperbole,
so a couple things on that. You never really answered my question. I know what you want. I know you want Jey to have a lengthy reign. I asked you, do you think he was going to beat Bron on Monday? You didn't answer that.
I don't know, man.
Deep down,
I don't know.
You know. Deep down, he's
know.
losing that title. I think when it comes to Jey, I think maybe this was he's already talked about, he's always said the main title for him was the Intercontinental title. He's been on record saying, I don't really care about winning the world title. My title was the IC title. I feel like this may have been hey man, you have had an incredible year. You got a chance to check off one thing on your bucket list, which was wrestle your brother at WrestleMania 1-on-1. Now we're going to get you another one checked off of you getting the Intercontinental Championship before you become an even bigger star back with the Bloodline piece. Because I do think that's going to make him even bigger than what he is right now. And I also think that it would be a mistake to have Bron lose that match on Monday. Just don't do the rematch then if it's not time for him to win it. So there's a world where we can get to, I still don't know how you do it, because I do think unless something significant happens on SmackDown on Friday, it would feel premature if Bloodline 2.0 shows up on Raw and costs Jey, even though Jey said, I don't want nothing to do with y'all. It would kind of feel like, all right, that's a little heavy-handed.
That's what I'm saying. That's right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like it's that seemed like it's really hitting the fast forward button on that feud, where
Right.
they can kind of let it simmer, like right. But then at the same time, I personally think that Bron will be all right because look, these dudes can't. Everybody can't win all the time, like right now. At the same time, like it's why do you have the match so soon? But like it's like why not? Like right now, like WWE is like they just throwing hot shit at the wall all day long, and it's just melting, right? So it's. I mean, I guess it's why not, but at the same time, I think Bron can take a loss. What do you think, Rhodesia?
I'm about to talk out of both sides of my neck because I feel like in order for Jey to get involved with the bloodline again, something had to happen. So if his own twin brother has come to him and trying to get him to come over, and he's like, no, get out of my face. And you see those things they keep doing like Moesha in 90s sitcoms videos on that. I don't know if y'all peep that out. It's hilarious how creative people are. But if you're not,
and also there's also a point too where people just steal shit.
That's
like,
true too. That's
I am
100% true. Yeah.
Whatever. I won't go down a tangent right now, but I'm getting a little personally irritated and just like, and I know that's the content game. Mm-hmm. People don't have original thoughts, so they just steal shit. But it's irritating when you're in the content game and you just see people. I mean, they will steal it verbatim, like word for word, video for video, and act like it's theirs. I cannot stand that, but whatever, go ahead.
I just feel like there has to be a motivating factor for him to want to get down with the bloodline. And if his own twin brother is not that motivating factor to have him get back with the bloodline, what else can it be? You taking a title from him. You taking something that's important to him, especially if he's gone on the record saying the IC that is his prize possession. But then at the same time, it's almost like, why do we even have to have this rematch this early on? If we would have had this about even at Crown Jewel, it would feel a little bit different. But it's just like, why would you have him go against Bron again that soon? To me, it's almost like it's destined for him to lose it this soon just so he can go over to the bloodline. The other part of me talking out the side of my neck, I also want him going into that relationship in the bloodline of being someone who's in a number one star. Like, of course, you're probably not going to outshine Roman, but I want you to be like, hey, I am a deciding factor. I being Jimmy. I'm a deciding factor to how this goes. I'm so important to this. Like, this is only going to work if I'm a part of it. So again, I am talking out both sides of my neck, but I just feel because of the timing of this Bron match, this rematch, yes, he can take another pin. He's a bad guy. Yes, he's young. He's going to have the future ahead of him. 3 years, be bigger than Cody Rhodes. But I just don't know if this is going to, like, when else would this happen? Unless it's like a DQ and they have another rematch, then we could do something like that.
You could do a count out or a DQ finish easily, especially if it's not the main event. Hell, even if it is the main event, you can get away with doing a DQ finish on Raw.
I've seen him do a screwy finish. But let me ask you a question too, talking about Jey saying I've always wanted the AIC title, right? Who goes in life saying I want to be second place? Like when you aspire to be whatever you gonna be, I never say like, you know what? I just want to be number two. Number two actually is my favorite.
But is
my
that
favorite
fair?
number? But at the same time, you know what? When I wanted to be a wrestler, right? I didn't say, you know what? God damn it! I want to go to WCW. I want to win the United States Championship. That's all I want to do. I'm good. I never want to be. No, man. I feel like he knows what the game is, and he's saying what he needs to say. And I know the IC title probably means a lot to him. And I think the reaction we saw on Raw was heartfelt and that was real because he probably didn't see himself winning a major championship. Because right now, this IC championship right now is not the IC championship it was when he started in the company, 15 years ago when Dirtbag Vince was running the company, right? When the IC title didn't mean anything, kind of like the AEW championships, like when they don't mean shit. But this one actually means something. This means like the old school. So I get it. But he ain't coming there to be number two.
But I see, I don't know if you can consider that number two or not. If he is thinking about back in the day when Warrior had it, Rick Rude had it, Mr. Perfect had it, Macho Man had it, as a kid, that could have been the number one belt for him. The same way there are Bret Hart people, right? Any Bret Hart guy or girl out there did not become a Bret Hart guy or girl just because when he had his world title reign. It was back when he had the IC belt. Like,
hey, but Bret Hart didn't get in the business to be IC champion.
But I'm saying you brought up WCW. I am sure there are a ton of luchadors that watched WCW back in the day and said, I would love to be WCW Cruiserweight champion.
I could see that.
I think it's the same thing. I get your point,
There's pride
but
there, yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I think that's on the list. Like, oh, I definitely wouldn't do that. But to say that that's my ceiling, like, nah, man, that's not like you break through that. Like he has the potential, if done correctly, to be the champion. Like, so I'm just gonna put it like this, and I'm not trying to throw shots at Damian Priest. I think his last couple months he did pretty good, and probably with the material and where they're going with the direction of his character and story, maybe that's just how it ended up happening. But if he can win the championship, like Jey can be a champion, because I think that Jey right now is on a higher plane than Damian Priest ever was, even as world champion.
I'll give you a hot take then. Right now,
Give me.
I think we have seen the apex of Jey Uso's single run by himself. I think this is the height. I don't think he gets any higher, because I do think when Bloodline 1.0 gets back together, I do think he's back with Jimmy.
So you think his light's going to shine or dim a little bit more?
No, I don't think he's going to dim, because I think he's still going. I think he's going to be him going forward. But I think now it's back to getting to family. I did my run for a year.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the top guys on his show. Without my brother, without my cousin, it was me. But at the end of the day, he's an Uso.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and I think that's what it is.
But we all bosses, right? Like, we got good bosses and we got an average boss over here, Fit Daddy E. Like, sometimes it's not about what your team wants; it's about where they best fit on the roster. So he may necessarily want to play point guard, right? But you're a scorer. I need you playing the two. So even though you feel more comfortable as a one for the team and for your potential, what's best for you and our team, I need you to play the two, right? So if Triple H looks at Jey and say, "Yo, you are a top guy." Not saying you can't be a top guy in the tag team, but the tag team championships, they have a certain slot. Like, right, we're seeing that with Bianca and Jade. Like, those are superstars, but those titles aren't top slots. Like, right, you're a top guy. You're the number 2 merchandise seller, like, of the full-time wrestlers, right? You're the number 2 merch mover. It's best for the team for you to be a main event singles competitor. When now when you cool off, and we can revisit the tag team situation, like, right, in another couple years. But right now, this is where I need you.
Oh boy, you're gonna be sadly upset.
I'm gonna say another
when
hot take here.
What you got?
I'm perfectly fine with Jey having his crescendo as IC champion. If he never has a WWE world title win, victory, reign, I'm personally okay with it, because again, we're talking about top tier people, and this is no knock on him at all. But you look at the A+ players, Jay's an A+ player too, but it's just different right now with the landscape that they have in WWE. Jey is still like underneath your Roman, your Cody, your CM Punk, your Drew.
Your Gunthers.
I mean, he just is. He is hot as
Seth Rollins.
Fish grease. Seth Rollins, right? So I'm completely okay with it. Again, I just want them to do right by Jey. And you could do right by Jey by keeping him the IC champion, or making him, if you're taking from him this week, make him the important deciding factor in how this bloodline going to go around. Maybe somehow he becomes the new tribal chief. Again, I'm not booking the bloodline. I told y'all that already, but just make sure that you do right by him. But my hot take is I'm completely fine with him not winning the world title.
I don't think he cares that much about it, to be honest. I really don't. I think he just cares more about he's as over as he's ever been right now. They've done right by him so far. We were talking about, now, funny thing is, say if he was the exact same over, right? Say he's selling the exact same merch. Say he's in the exact same matches, but there is no title belt around his waist ever as a singles person. I would look at it and say that's a missed opportunity. I wouldn't say they did right by him.
I would say that's disrespectful to Jey.
But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Like, I am super excited for Raw Monday. I forgot Raw was taped. I stayed away from all spoilers, so I didn't see anything on Raw. But I don't know if you guys could feel it. You could feel it was different. I loved and hated Raw at the same time.
Wait, oh my God. Okay.
I hated it because
I could
tell it was taped. I could hear the voiceovers from Testator, and I could see where they splice stuff at. And of course, that's me watching wrestling forever. Like I come up when they used to do 1 hour of live Raw, and then they would tape 3 episodes afterwards, which would be for the full month. So I can even see like on camera when it's taped. And then they had some post edits too that was not done the best. It was a couple when Raquel was in the ring. There were a couple in the women's tag title match. Like when it's the far side, and then all of a sudden they go zoom up on somebody and they go back wide. It was an edit. It was a post edit. But that happened a few times. But what I did enjoy was those promos. Felt like there was a lot of character development on that show. And the one thing you brought up, we started with kind of the Bron and Jey Uso of it all. I was watching that video package of Bron, and I'm like, man, I remember when Vince McMahon wanted to stay far away from Bron being known as a Steiner. And now they're leaning into it. And I love that how he has continued just to say, like, yes, I love my family. I'm keeping the tradition, but I don't need that name. Right? It's just once again, it's funny how presentation does. You got one element of it, and both are the same. Both is, hey, we don't want you needing to rest on the Steiner name. We don't want the story being more about your dad and your uncle than you. But just look at the different styles of it. One was, we're not even going to talk about it. We're not even going to say who you are. And the other one, when he was in NXT, the mathematic promo from Scott Steiner, he did. And now, he's got a package showing his dad and his uncle talking about like, hey, I am a Steiner, but that's not what it's about. I just think it goes a long way in showing how the presentation is. And that's what I talk a lot about with AEW, with their presentation, which I do have something about AEW. I didn't watch WrestleDream. Did you watch any of it?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I actually watched probably about half the show.
Ooh, okay. Nice. So we're going to talk about that then after you get done with WWE. I'm excited to hear that because we haven't talked even about the show. So I'm excited to see what they do on Friday, if anything, with the Bloodline significantly that impacts Raw. But I do think sooner rather than later, you probably should put the belt back on Bron, because I don't know what you do with him if you don't.
I have 2 things from Raw, and then I'm pretty much tapped out on as far as that. One, evidently, I must have picked up the vibes of it being taped, because there was a part where it was like choppy. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, well, am I going crazy, or is again our YouTube TV doing this big thing and just chopping and splicing the show? But I'm like, okay, that wasn't like that. But I will say that unlike last week's first 2-hour episode of Raw, where we felt like, I actually really enjoyed it. It felt like a show. It felt like it is a regular episodic 2-hour TV show. So when the show was over, I was like, oh, this is actually real cool. This feels like it was a 2-hour show, and it was meant to be a 2-hour show, not a 3-hour show condensed to 2 hours. And then one other thing I have to mention, regardless of her comeback, I love a great kick out. Or not even a kick out, a great breakup. So when someone's going for a count, so Raquel came and pushed Rhea off a lift. I don't know if y'all remember that scene, but it was amazing. Like Raquel pushed her so hard that it was so believable. So as I was watching at the little things that is like what I pop for, give me a good push off, a good breakup. Some of like Asuka and Io does that too really, really well. But that one I popped for that. Now again, her coming back, and I don't know if I'm quite feeling back and ass right now. She's not representing the back part right now, but
she's not at all.
She's not representing
which is great. I mean, we've been asking her to do something more than just show the back, but back and ass ain't back and ass in the way they used to.
But when she came on in the sunglasses, I'm like, okay, let me stop hating. So I'm not going to hate on her.
Yeah, I must watch a lot of these shows much more casually than you guys do, because a lot of those things they don't bother me at all, or like stop my enjoyment of it actually.
But do you like a great breakup? Like a great false finish, like a good, like a...
He not paying attention to that shit. He told us a couple weeks ago that he didn't hear the crowd chant or something. I was like, dude, how'd you miss that? So if he didn't pay attention to that, he damn sure not paying attention to how somebody breaks up a pin.
No, none of it stands out. But I enjoy moments in the match that mean something. Like so if they build to a certain spot, I'm gonna enjoy it. It probably won't stand out in my mind as something that I will point out. But I enjoy being taken on the ride. Like that's why when I watch these shows all the time, I sit back, like actually I was on my exercise bike, watching the show, so I end up getting a nice little hour and a half of cardio. No, actually, I fast forward the commercials. How long is that show with commercials? Probably about an hour and a half, right?
With commercials, he's talking
120.
about like 90 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, about 90 minutes. So I got a 90 minutes of cardio in there. So, like it was a great watch for me. I do feel like this show didn't seem as compressed as the last show, but overall, I mean, it's an enjoyable show for me. I'm not going to complain about a Monday Night Raw, especially with being 90 minutes. When I used to get 3-hour snooze fest, for years, for almost a decade plus under your boy Vince. So at this moment, I'm fine with the shows. I'm fine at all.
I tell you what, I was fine with,
Mm.
and he continues to prove me right every single time. Serious Seth is the best Seth. And I watch him, and I know there's money evidently in the whole outlandish wardrobe, costume wearing guy. But every time he gets a brass tacks and he cuts a serious promo or he is a serious person on that camera, he's already a top guy, but he's a top guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that conversation he had with Adam Pearce.
Yep.
I'm like, this is the money guy right here, man. And I get he has his own lane if he, needs to continue doing the cackling, laughing Seth Rollins, but man, give me him. Give me that guy every single week. And I think I'm really, really high on Seth. Serious Seth.
Serious Seth is like I don't even know the word to use, but it's you put all your wrestlers, all the greatest qualities of a wrestler into one person. And he can, when he's serious, be that person. So when you think about like even the Shield, he could have, which he was the leader of the Shield, but he has the mic skills and the mic skills of like Roman as a bad guy, but also the kind of like the heart and fighting as Dean Ambrose back before they made Dean Ambrose kind of a jobber or enhancement talent. We're not trying to use jobbers anymore. But like Seth is like the perfect molded wrestler. He looks good. He sounds good. He is so fundamentally sound in the ring. And like you said, if he is serious, you ain't fucking with him.
Yeah.
Seth is the man.
All versions of Seth are the same to me, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, I like him. He's just not. He's like Moxley. There's a lot of things I like about Moxley, but it's just he's just not my top guys. Like he's not my top guys. Like right, I would say that probably Seth is a we want to say bale for bale. Maybe Seth is a better wrestler than Jey, but I actually resonate more with Jey than I would like Seth, for instance. However, I do think that Seth is a better version of Triple H. I think
Triple H is one of my guys. That's kind of you really didn't like Triple H though. Didn't like Triple H.
So like I think like so you think about Triple H, right? Like to me, he had a lot of mic time for somebody who's pretty average on the mic. Like I think that Triple H as the authority figure, as the NXT guy, now the Raw and WWE spokesperson, like the CEO. I think that's when he's on the mic now. But as a wrestler, I thought he was boorish and he was long-winded. Now, was he articulate and can he carry a segment? Sure. But I think the same thing about Seth. I think even the serious Seth, he can carry a segment. He's articulate. He can make a point. But I'm not entertained why he's doing it. Now, as far as the ring, right?
Uh-huh.
Like Seth is a really good wrestler, but for whatever reason, it's like he doesn't pop out for me. But I can watch his matches versus Triple H. I thought Triple H I could not watch a Triple H match. I think that Seth is an upgraded version of Triple H as a wrestler.
Look here, brother. The way you think I hate on Cody Rhodes is the way you hate on Seth Rollins. To even compare Seth Rollins in the ring to Jey Uso is blasphemy. They are worlds apart. You said Seth is a good wrestler.
I would love for you guys not you guys. I don't want to. I group. See, you guys are a couple, so I group you guys together sometime. I would love for you to actually listen. I said I like Jey
I heard
more
you.
than
I heard you.
Seth.
I
I
heard
would say
you, but
Seth
then
is a better
you-
wrestler,
I heard
but he
you.
doesn't resonate with me. Now I compare Triple H to Seth, and I think Seth is a better wrestler than Triple H.
Of course he is.
I think his matches are
Oh,
better.
yeah.
Like, right?
No.
But I think they're the same type of wrestler.
That's crazy.
Like, right? I think they're
When-
the same
when he
type
was
of
a
wrestler.
heel, I would
and they're
agree.
both positioned in the same
When
type
he
of way.
was a heel with J&J Security, I would agree. I thought
He's
that
like, he was like Triple H.
Yeah, I thought that was his worst stench of.
But he still was better. But you would say I'm hating on somebody. I'm hating on Triple H as a wrestler. I thought he was, man, he was out there. He dominated that company. He had the most mic time. He was in the highest of profiles, right? Seth is always in the top picture. He's always in the top picture. I would never say he's a top guy, but he's always in the top picture.
When
Like,
you talk
right,
about
but-
Mike's time, I could see that. But as far as wrestlers, like I would never compare Seth to Triple H at all. Like I would say Seth could be a better comparison than I could probably find anybody else than Triple H. We're talking about just in the ring, or you talking about just as a
But
wrestler?
Triple H
personality?
was respected as one of the better workers of his time, though.
Yeah, but when I was watching Triple H, this was already after even his knee blew out, or the quad incident. He was like a massive heavyweight. Seth doesn't wrestle like a massive heavyweight. So like to me, I just feel like that's two totally different profiles, at least for me and how I watch wrestling. I just would never compare Seth.
Well,
and H.
I wasn't comparing necessarily the style of the way they wrestle. I'm talking about the
You're saying
position. They both
position.
have. Yeah,
You're
I'm talking
saying
about the position. Yeah, I'm like, he always in the top matches, like always in the top spots, lots of mic time, like plastered all over the place, like, right? I think that Seth has taken Triple H's spot, but I think he does a better job of it to me. I would take Steph over Triple H any day of the week. But he's at that level to where I'm like, man, I don't know if necessarily Seth should get as much as he gets, considering like, I think there's some people that are a little bit better. But
That's what I
at
was
the
about to
same
ask
time,
That's what I was about to ask you. So then you didn't feel any different for the little bit of we've seen with Seth and Punk, and then you didn't feel any different Monday when he was talking to Pierce about Bronson Reed.
See, I'm not down on the Joker, Seth. I think it's a little bit much. But I'm not necessarily down on. I get why he's getting it. I like character. I get what he's. I get it. I'm fine with it.
I am. That's good. That was a good talk then. What else from Raw? We got the Cody Gunther segment, which was what it was, because it is what it is. If that makes perfect sense, that's kind of like probably the best way for me to say that. Why are you counting down over there?
No, I said who was you talking about? Because you said what else from Raw, and I was getting hype over here. But now you talking about somebody else. I thought you was about to take this lead.
Which is what? All
It
I
was
see
like
is
only-
one finger.
Listen. Oh, all you see is one finger.
Yeah.
Listen, and
I don't see one thing.
I
know
could
what
have,
you're
I
saying
could have,
sometimes.
I could have sworn like they would have been more over when they did a pan out, and there was only 3 people doing war.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Like, oh
Yeah.
shit! I'm like,
Yeah.
dang! Like we've been begging for this for 2 years now for them to be the War Raiders. We hated the Viking experience, then changed the Viking Raiders.
Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
Yep.
When we got War Raiders back, and they plastered it big as day, War Raider, and all you hear is one person cheering, and then only 3 people had their hands in the air like war.
Because to Billy Mays' point, or to my point to Billy Mays, the WWE fan right now evidently was not watching WWE a couple of years ago. They don't give a damn about WCW and the Omni. They don't give a damn about the War Raiders. And also remember too that this was a tape show taped after last week's Raw, and you could feel the energy difference. Like even when Cody came out and had his promo segment with Gunther, I'm like, if this was in front of a live, just they were there for those 2 hours, that would have sounded different. It would a lot would have sounded and looked differently if it wasn't a tape show. But
That's a long time. That's for 4 hours.
It is. It is.
And I'm
3.5.
probably
Yeah.
like, what time did that start? Like, was last week's show live?
Yeah, last week's show was live. So even
8 to
hell
10.
with
So
the
now,
time.
so shit. I mean, you got another 2 hours.
Well, even look at it this way. Even if the second part, if you take out the promo segments, because some of that stuff was taped after the show, of course, like that Jimmy and Jey was not shown or seen when they did the tape. Even if they only taped an hour after, think about what the crowd saw last Monday. That's a lot to add. Once again, that's a lot to ask for you to get up again for Jey, for some of these other wrestlers. But
let's keep it real though. If that was a fresh crowd, we probably would have got maybe 2 more people.
yeah,
in the war
you got out 10. You'd have got 10.
I mean,
You'd have got 10.
They got to build back to that, right? Because like for one, they've been off TV for a while, and even before they had the name change, like they weren't necessarily setting the world on fire. The bigger dude, I know Eric and Ivar. What's the big dude that was wrestling for a while until he got injured? He had to match with Bronson. Is that Ivar?
I think so.
Eric,
Okay.
Eric is what you call it?
He was killing.
Yeah, he
was singles.
Yeah, he was doing. He was
doing some good work. Yeah,
he was doing his thing for a minute. Yeah, they got to rebuild that team. I wonder what they're gonna do with Valhalla. I like the way she looked. I like the look of her. I liked her with the actual team. You know, I wonder how they repackage her if they're kind of going away from the whole. You know,
I'm guessing she's not gonna be involved.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
I was happy though to see it because it felt like NXT again, and I kind of thought, I was like, is that okay? Because again, it was almost as if they carved Viking Raiders experience completely out of their whole history books, because it was as if I was just watching an NXT show 3 years later, down to as far as agile as Ivar was, and just even the smiles on their face as they're looking to the crowd, playing the facials that they were doing. I just hope that they can build on that, and hopefully that the crowd will be there for them. But again, those 3 War Raiders, I was like, dang, y'all suck.
Do y'all want to talk about a spoiler match for Survivor Series that kind of came out this week?
Why not? I guess
and it's not going to spoil TV, because neither one of these people are going to be anything where it wouldn't happen, but it's a match that is being talked about as probably being etched in stone for Survivor Series.
Sure.
So anybody who doesn't want to know this match, once again, it's not going to dictate anything we see on TV between now and Crown Jewel. But it looks like we're getting CM Punk versus Gunther at Survivor Series for the Raw Championship.
Kind
of surprised by that. Makes perfect sense. Makes logical sense. Makes all the sense in the world.
Why?
Because the whole feud with Punk and Drew, outside of anything personal, was next in line for that championship. Punk should have got his shot. Remember, he came out after he beat Drew in the strap match. He was like, hey, all right, I'm done with Drew. Gunther, coming for you. Okay. And then Drew beat his ass, and there you go. So it makes perfect sense. This is one of those, though, where I look at it and say, Survivor Series is end of November. We got Saturday night's main event. We got Royal Rumble. We have Raw on Netflix. Is it time for Gunther to drop that title already? And if not, then why do you do the match to have Punk lose his second feud? I don't know. What you guys think?
I would call that a transition.
Transition?
I would call that a transition.
Never fails every episode.
60-second mute.
I need somebody.
The book of Rhodesia, man.
Man, I need somebody who has watched or listened to every single episode. Just clip that shit up. And like when we get to like episode 1,000, they just put like a 15-minute video together.
So
all your made up words.
Hopefully we get some money off of it too. Let's do that. But a transitional champion. I know that he probably had 2 title defenses, but like
so far he will.
To me, if he drops that sucker to Punk at Survivor Series, I'm going to call it a transitional champion. Now, but going back to my words, most of my words are legit words. Transition, I don't know about that one, but most of my words are actually legit. And I go to the Merriam-Webster dictionary and pull them back up. So if someone does make something of my words, I'll be able to fact check them and put the receipts right below it, except for transition. But that should be a word.
Hey, you know, I can imagine, you know, Rhodesia at her real job, you know, running the meeting, and she, you know, directing the employees, and she's up there making up, you know, transition and what triple ways, and you know, I bet like
triple ways.
You know, and that's
Giovanni even said it to build.
Stop bringing up Giovanni.
And as an employee, and you know, that's the boss talking. So you ain't gonna sit there and correct her. You just gonna, you know, keep taking notes. You know what I'm saying? Let her say what you're gonna say. I bet them meetings is off the hook. But
turn up.
But I mean, I guess if you think about it, I mean, if they're gonna try to wait, maybe and get CM Punk versus Seth at Mania, I think having the championship on the line will make that an even bigger match, right? Especially if they're going to do 2 nights. How do you what's one of the probably night one, right? Because you gotta think night two would be the culmination of like the entire weekend, and that would be the biggest match going on the end. So night one, I can see that being the main event. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the championship.
Does that match go on before, if we don't get Rock Roman? Does that match go on before Cody's title match? And does that match go on before Roman and Jacob? If it's not Rock Roman? I don't think so.
Timeout. We talking about Survivor War Games, right?
Yeah.
So am
but he is saying if you put the belt on Punk, then that can lead to Punk and Seth night one WrestleMania. And I'm saying right now I got night one pegged for Cody if he's not going against The Rock, and I got night two pegged for Roman if it's Rock, or if it's not Rock, I got Roman and Jacob main event one of those nights.
I've already told you about Bloodline and its affiliates headlining both nights. I'm telling you, there's gonna be a lot of pushback on that, so I don't necessarily agree with that comment there. But I thought what I was saying timeout for, I thought Survivor Series kind of was just like a throwaway paper PLE. Like I thought we got the War Games and like maybe one or two regular matches, but it sounds like they're actually having some things that have some consequences at the end of it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, even last year's show we had the women's and the men's War Games match. We had a couple other strong matches. Once again, since Triple H has been involved, there hasn't been too many throwaway shows. Now, back in the day, remember Survivor Series was all about brand supremacy, where they act like for 3 weeks
Top
they really
five
cared
and
what
top
show they
five.
were on.
Yep.
And then they dropped that shit the next week. They stopped talking about it. It was just like, wow. But,
I mean,
yeah.
every show or pay-per-view was a throwaway show for Vince, so it didn't really matter.
Except for Mania.
Only thing he cared about was Mania. That's all he cared about. But I mean, you think about right now, that's the thing about when we were watching Raw, just to go back to it quickly, like, there's a storyline for everything. Oh, I did want to say just real quickly, two things, because I'm just gonna go all over the place right now, 'cause I'm gonna forget. Man, what a missed opportunity, Alpha Academy and American Made. Like, right? Like, we had a show like, man, like, we can't wait to see Chad Gable and Otis, right? I don't think we ever got that match. And at this point, like, they've cooled it off so much that it's not going to be as high as it was a couple months ago.
I don't even want to see it, to be honest.
Yeah, and like, what are they doing with like when Alpha Academy came out there? Like, man, they're so cold. Like, what?
They are. Even the
I'm
video
like,
package.
Man.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, both. Alpha Academy's cold and American Made, to me, is kind of just like,
at least Chad is charismatic enough that we can get some heat. Like, right? But like, if they were to go back to that, which they never really concluded it, right?
It felt like it. I think they missed it. We missed it.
Hot take.
What you got?
Do you think that happened, the kind of the demise of both of them, is because the Wyatt Six touched that feud and muddied the waters?
They definitely muddied the waters.
Yeah, maybe because they came in while he was feuding with American Alpha. And speaking of Wyatt Six, guess we got the new target, which is Miz, and I'm not here for that.
well, actually, I was like, is it Miz or is it R-Truth? I was like, no, never mind. It ain't R-Truth.
Yes, Miz.
It ain't R-Truth.
Like, I'm not here for that.
Yeah, man. I mean, sheesh. And then other thing, we might have talked about it last week, man. But we're skipping Crown Jewels, right? 'Cause we got that coming up. And boy, did we talk about how bad the title is?
Well, what you mean?
No,
by
not
bad?
really. Man, I just
title
said
is
like
beautiful.
If you put it on
beautiful,
if you put it around your waist, it goes up to your neck.
Yes, it has 50 diamonds.
It's gonna cover your forehead up.
The whole
that's like
thing.
the biggest title I've ever seen.
Give me the Crown Jewel Championship. I don't have to.
And
win
you know what's
anything
funny
else.
about that? So they came out, of course, and said that title is only for Saudi. It was not going to be defended throughout the year, and it's probably not even going to be mentioned. I thought that was common sense. There was nothing about Triple H's announcement at the pay-per-view where I was like, oh, okay, this is a title that is going to be on TV like normally, or like, no. Maybe once again, maybe it's just from us watching, but like, you know what this is.
Yep.
It's like the trophy that they gave years ago. I think Taker won a trophy, didn't even like carry it to the back when he won it in Saudi. Like, it's only for Saudi. That's it.
Yep.
They got to be careful with that thing too, because we have the Speed Championship, which they only mention on like the internet.
Oh snaps! I
Like-
forgot we
like-
It's
still have
exclusive
the
to
stuff.
it's an agreement with X. That's why.
Oh.
I guess, and they're making some nice little money with
Okay.
that
Oh,
too.
that's nice. I mean,
Who's
so
the
like
champion?
there's what it is. I mean, WWE is just like any other company. They're going to do things just for money. So we got the grand, what is it? What is it?
Just crown jewel.
Crown Jewel
Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Championship. Then we got the Speed Champion. They're exclusive to that specific PLE or in that specific NT on X. So,
Which
But
is
this
cool to me. Hey, y'all got it. Like I said, the matches for me is gonna be fun to see champion versus champion, but there's no stakes in it,
Right.
you know. So whatever. It was one more thing that I wanted to bring up before we got to. Oh, that's what it was. So there was some rumors, and I thought it, of course, after Raw, because Cody mentioned slaying the Beast, and Seth Rollins mentioned Beast, and of course we know who that Beast is. So when I first heard WWE doesn't do anything like for happenstance, everything they do is intentional. So I think Seth said it first. I was like, oh shit, that's a Brock
Mhm.
Lesnar reference. And then when Cody said it again, I was like, okay, that's a Brock Lesnar reference. And I guess there was a little talk about is Brock coming back, and there's been some reports that yes, and there's been other reports saying no, you know, they're not touching him. Take out, and I know it's hard, it's actually impossible. Take out the lawsuit if he did something wrong. So let's act like he didn't do anything wrong because we don't know. Are you yay or nay on a Brock Lesnar return to WWE?
That's hard for me to answer because I don't like Brock just in general. So, and that was even before the lawsuit. But for name value, for that pop, for the attention, the eyes on the product, I think I probably would have to say yes, I'm there for it. But again, I don't like Brock, so maybe no. But as a Rhodesia, but as a fan and what's best for business, yes. But again, we have so many people at the top, we don't need him.
yeah, I mean, if Brock isn't a P Diddy, like I'm good with him coming back because I mean he was a special attraction, like right. So like it was always kind of special when he kind of came in and did his thing, and his matches were always very formatic, right? He's gonna suplex, do 100 suplexes in the match, right? And then you're gonna see an F5 at some point. Somebody's gonna kick out or not kick out or something like that. But it was always a spectacle when Brock was there, right? So if it's all good, if he's proven innocent and there's no wrongdoing, nothing else comes out. Yeah, I love to have him back on the TV because I know it would be a big moment.
I'm in agreement with both of you. For me, just for him and Gunther alone, and that build up is the match that I would want to see. Once again, taking all real life stuff out. If he is innocent, yes. Of course, if he's not, then no. But if he is, yeah, I would want him back.
And
I think
you're
that would be
okay
cool.
with him taking, again, the proverbial saying, taking a spot from somebody already that's been there?
That man has put in work for 20 plus years.
All right,
That is
so
the
that's
spot.
the answer. So the
Yeah,
answer is
I've
no.
never been that guy where they, the part-timers. I used to get irritated with the part-timers because they were never used properly to elevate anybody else. So they would come in, pop a rating, leave, and nobody else
And
got the
nobody's
rub.
pushed over. Got it.
That was what I always had an issue with. But no, when you're talking about the legends, they're legends for a reason. That's
Man,
why I have never have an issue with the part-time schedules. Same thing.
Yeah, I've never been that guy either, but I think Sheldon Benjamin said it the best because I don't know what was going on with Matt Caster. I don't know if he's trying to do like some kind of pseudo shoot thing when he was just but he's trying to crap on Sheldon Benjamin coming into the company. He's like, man, I don't want to come in there. He's going to take my spot. He's going to take my TV time. But Sheldon came out, and like Sheldon's like one of those really nice guys in the industry. Like I don't know him personally or anything like that, but he seemed like one of those really nice guys in the industry. He's just like, man, look, if me coming in takes your spot, it was never yours to begin with.
Yep.
Like, right? If you were valuable in your role and me simply coming in derailed you, then you weren't that valuable to begin with, and you need to figure that out. Like, if anything, what he does is help the card, bring more attention, and bring more draw and experience to the roster. That's the positive on the flip side. But yeah, if somebody's spot got taken, then they weren't very good anyway.
It wasn't yours to begin with.
Yeah.
Right? Because Cody's spot ain't gonna get taken. Seth's spot ain't gonna get taken. Drew McIntyre's spot ain't gonna get taken. Punk's spot ain't gonna get
Cody's
taken.
spot almost got taken. That's why he had the uprise, and that's why he.
But he didn't.
But he didn't, right?
But he didn't, did he?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yep. He said, "Hey, he didn't let him take that spot." Well, actually, the fans didn't let him take that spot, right? So,
yep, sure didn't. Perfect transition. We did that one without even trying. Talking about spots. PWI women's list hit this week. I have not been on the internet much. All I know is I saw the initial list and I logged off. Didn't go back.
Ooh.
damn.
Ooh.
So, Rhodesia, you have the list up.
I do.
What y'all want to talk about? As Cody Rhodes would say.
I'll do this. I'll run down, if we have a little time, I'll run down the top 20. And
Okay.
I'm sorry if I butcher anybody's names here.
Before you give us the top 20, E, do you remember the top 20? Kind of.
I only actually looked at the top 10.
Okay. Give your guys' initial thoughts on, without saying who's where Rhodesia can give that. But when you guys both saw the list, were you like, hell no? Or were you like, okay, I get it? Or were you like, they were spot on, perfect?
In true transparency, anytime it comes to a list, I hate to be the person to get persuaded by other people. So I came up with kind of my top 4 without looking at the list. And I really just had the list up from yesterday. I'm just not really seeing all the names on here. So a quick glance at it.
Yeah.
I think it's fair.
Okay.
I think the PWI guys, so you want to talk about some, hey, I think the PWI guys do a really bad job of these. I think their rank is typically terrible. The men's, the 500, at least the top like 20 was like horrendous. I think it was just terrible. This one, I don't think it's as bad as the men's.
Okay.
But I disagree with the order.
Vehemently disagree?
You know, like I said, it takes a lot of energy for me to actually get that to that point of anything. I can just strongly disagree.
Got you. Okay. All right. So, Rhodesia, just go let's go 20 to 10.
Cool.
And then we can kind of just take a breather, and then you can give us 9 to 1.
All right. So we'll start with 20. We have Laya Valkyria. We have Miyu Yamashita. At number 18, we have Miyu Watanabe.
Ooh. Sorry, too, I'm not familiar with.
Right. 17, we have Becky Lynch, which I thought she left right at Mania time. 16, we have Mina Shirakawa. So that's probably Mina from AEW. 15,
yeah, it is. Yep.
15, Masha Slamovich. I think I know her.
Oh, nice. Good. Okay. Shout out to her.
The one with the crazy hair, right?
Yeah, it's good to see. Yeah.
I like Masha. 14, we have Mayu Awatani. 13, Io Sky. Always in my heart, Io Shirai. Number 12, Liv Morgan. 11, Roxanne Perez.
Get the fuck out of here.
So that's the 11 through 20.
That was the omission that I saw from the top 10.
Which one?
And I said any
Roxanne?
top 10 where Roxanne is not in the top 10, I throw the entire list away. Throw the entire list away. So I didn't know she's 11, right? And, 11. And that to me, the whole point of lists, outside of giving people their kudos, is to get people talking.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if the list was perfect, right? There is no perfect list, but imagine if the list was right where it needed to be. We're probably not talking about it.
Agreed.
So I guess PWI is doing their job.
Content.
There is absolutely content.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, you go from 10 to 11, but I was pretty excited for number 19. Yamashita, I love her.
Yeah, so where's she at?
She's 19.
No,
like,
where's she at?
Oh, she is so she is mainly in Japan.
Okay.
I think she's started for a long time. I'm not sure who she's with right now, but I actually wish that she actually signed with somebody, man. Like I think she's so talented. Like, so she has the same finish as Malachi Black, has like that spinning back kick. But I think
the Black Mass.
Man, yeah,
damn, you went to Malachi. I mean, oh no, his name is Malachi.
That is
I thought-
Malachi.
my bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, but I think that she does it, and I think he's even said it that she does it better than he does. Like she has like this
Wow.
swag that goes to
Wow.
it. She popped up on AEW a couple times, but she didn't sign. You know, it's funny. I know we're talking about the women right now, but did you guys hear? Just quick side nugget. Did you guys hear that? You know, Matt Cardone's going on these interviews talking about how he's disappointed that AEW and WWE hasn't offered him a contract.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like right, and he was devastated that the last time he popped up on AEW that they didn't offer him anything.
Well, so now that may be a little bit of revisionist history for him because I thought when he came on, when Cody was there, he had made a comment of he wanted to keep his options open. Now, once again, that may have been just, hey, they didn't offer me a contract, so I'm acting like I didn't want to go. But I could have sworn that was what he said. But E, I remember you had sent a text to the group probably a couple months ago, and you were like, I really want to see Matt in WWE. And my response to you was, but I don't think there's a spot for him right now. Because to me, you kind of could put him in that LA Knight spot before LA Knight became LA Knight.
I can see that.
Right? But other than that, I don't know where he fits in current day WWE. So I would rather him not be signed. Well, I want everybody to get their money and be popular and be on whatever. But I don't know, like if you sign him right now, we just talking about spots. Whose TV time does he take off either Raw or SmackDown? I don't see anybody right now that I'm like, hey, that person shouldn't really be on my TV right now.
I honestly think that he will be right where he was before. In the middle of the card. Even as a heel, I think he'll be a middle of the card. He's an entertaining guy. I don't think he's a top of the card, upper card guy at this point in his career. Like, right? But I definitely think he's valuable. But as you said, Matt, I remember maybe a year ago him saying like, yeah, I'm good on the WWE. I like my freedom. I like my independence. Right? To where maybe at some point, maybe like now the true feelings are coming out. Like maybe that this was all just talk. Like, yeah, you know what? Trying to make myself. I'm too cool for school. Right? Y'all need to come to me. Like, right? I don't need you. You need me. Right? Now you're like, okay, wait a minute. Maybe that worked too well. Actually, I do want y'all to come to me. Like, let's figure this out. But going back to women's list,
she killed it too.
But I didn't know if Yamashita was even top 20 in comparisons to the other women in the company. Maybe they're going again, like her contributions throughout the entire world and what she's doing in Japan.
Okay.
But you know, she didn't thrive in, well, I'm saying she wasn't a regular in TNA. I think she popped up a couple of times. She popped up a couple of times at AEW over the past couple of years. She hasn't really caught on in the States. So I guess I'm being biased towards the actual States as far as that heavily weighing where somebody will rank on the list. But hey, I'm a fan of hers. I hope she does catch on to in a major promotion soon. I'm glad she's at 19.
The Wikipedia has her billed from or currently in Tokyo Yoshi Wrestling. So
yeah, TJPW. I'm not familiar with them. Yeah. And I know the other girls on the list. Wanatabi. I know she's been talked about for a long time. I'm not familiar with her work at all. Tani, you did an excellent job pronouncing these names. I can't. Well, Mayu, she's been talked about for quite some time. I'm not familiar with her. I guess when I look at this top 20, I don't know who I will bump off, and I don't know who I will put in their place. To be honest with you, I have an entire list.
Okay, how about this? So let's do this. Let's see if I can find. Let me see if I can find 30 through 20. And let's just see if we personally would put somebody. Okay, I got it here. Okay. Let's just see. I'm gonna give you 30 through 20 or 21, and tell me if you would put any of these people in 19 to 10. Your own personal list. 30 is Naomi. 29, Kaylani Jordan. Are you bumping any of them in your top 20?
Well, for me, yes, because I don't know a few of these people. So
all right, good talk.
That's personal.
That's a good call.
You say personal, yeah.
I don't know 28 or 27.
26. I got a big admission already. I just know this. Go keep going, Matt.
Okay. 26, Julia Hart. 25 is Rio. 24 is Kenzie Page. I've heard of her, but I haven't really seen her work. 23 is Danny Luna. Same. 22 is Nia Jax. Nia would be much higher on my list. And then 21 is Julia.
I didn't know anything about Julia until the hype around her name, and then
Hey,
first
you
match.
know what, y'all? I want to stop the noise right now. Where the hell is Bianca Belair on this list?
Bianca Belair is number 34. Now,
throw the whole list out right now.
Now, remember,
Throw the whole list out.
Let's pull it up because I just looked at the criteria.
Oh, there's
win-loss record,
criteria. Oh, okay.
championship won, quality of competition, major feuds, prominence within a wrestling promotion, and overall wrestling ability. For one, Bianca should not be in the damn 30s. Yes, I go back to Roxanne. How is Roxanne not in the top 10 when you look at win-loss record, championships won, quality of competition? They've given that girl every single major person in NXT that she's worked with and had great matches with, prominence within a wrestling promotion, and overall wrestling ability. Now, once again, I don't know anything about the Japanese talent on here, but I would put Roxanne should be in the top 3 to top 5 on this list. And that's even with me just taking a quick look at 9 through 1.
Hey, we're not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to go.
Hey, do you guys think that her being in the developmental territory lowers her standing in the ranking?
I think that's bullshit, because if that's the case, then... So. But if that's the case, some of these Japanese promotions...
That's a good point.
They're not... Yeah, it's not developmental, but it's damn sure not as big as AEW, WWE, hell, and even TNA.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So...
Can we go against
Stardom.
caliber of so I'm not familiar with Stardom, but I've heard that they have some of the best female wrestlers in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about from a competitive standpoint, that might rank higher than the women that Roxanne is regularly facing, right? She wrestles against Natalia. They bring some girls in for her to work, but in Stardom, it's high caliber, on every match.
And Matt said the last one was wrestling ability. So if you're talking about they're all A++ wrestling ability, then they probably would get a 10 out of 10 for that category.
I'm about to, you know what? The hell with this list.
Wait, I got to finish 10 through 1. Don't do that.
Okay, go ahead and give us number 1, and then I'm going to read the criteria again.
Okay.
After you give us number 1.
So now we're going
because there's nowhere on their criteria that says gimmick, that says character, or says promos.
So you're just pretty much giving away number 1. Anyways, let's go. So starting at number 10, we have Athena, the mystery girl that's behind a paywall. 9, Mariah May. 8, Willow Nightingale. 7, Bailey. 6, I call her Saray. I don't know if in WWE she was Saray. I think she was Saray in WWE. Number 5, Stephanie Vaquer. 4, Micah. Number 3, Rhea Ripley. 2, Jordan Grace. And 1 that you just gave away. What is it? something Tony Storm.
Timeless.
The timeless Tony Storm.
Something.
Now, are we really going to sit here and say overall wrestling ability, major feuds, quality of competitions, championships won, and win-loss record, timeless Tony Storm is number 1? Timeless Tony Storm would be number 1 because of her gimmick and her character and her promo ability. I have no fight against that. But if we're talking off of what allegedly their criteria is, no way in hell Tony Storm should be number 1. And I love Tony Storm. But get the fuck real.
I didn't know that there's like categories that they rank them on. I just thought it was like their own public and personal perspective of the person and their feelings toward him. I didn't know that it was like broken down like that.
No, man, this is just some dude ranking who he likes, man. Like I said, I told you, man, the 500 was terrible. Now that actually we kind of went through it, man. To have Bianca Belair at 34 or whatever she's
34.
at,
Bianca's
like,
34.
get out of here. Get out of here. Now I know. Now if you want to compare her 2024 compared to her 2023, she's definitely, as far as a competition standpoint and standing, she's definitely lower. But they always find something for her to do, right? Even for WrestleMania, they had her, at the press conference, in a big moment. So they always have something for her, and she's one of the top people. Just our reputation alone, she should be in the top. And she's a champion. So you want to talk about championships and win losses. I mean, she's been whooping ass all year long. For her to be at 34, nah. Now, my top 3, I would say probably is actually not probably. It is actually right where they have it right now. I will go Toni Storm number 2. I will go on Rhea Ripley number 1. I don't care how long she was injured. We're talking about a whole year. And we're talking about the impact she had for the entire year. She is the most over female in the world, period.
She'd be number 1 if you include men on a lot of lists.
Yeah.
She will be, exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about most over wrestlers, take women out of it. And that's the thing about Rhea Ripley, is that she transcends her gender as far as overness. She's one of the most over.
Transients, yes.
Here you go, E.
Come on, let's go.
He doing meetings at work,
Transients.
talking about some transits.
Hey.
I'm talking about
Let's go, E.
transients. He's talking about transients. Let's go.
I said,
Let's go.
God bless.
Trent, that was the word. I thought transcendence was the word. Okay, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? She's one of the most over wrestlers in the entire world.
Yeah.
Like, how can she not be like number 1? And let's just keep it real. Like, the WWE is like the NBA. Like, it is the most popular, probably most profitable wrestling promotion in the entire world. And she ran that division for over an entire year. How could she not be number 1?
So you got Rhea number 1. Who's number 1 on your list, Rhodesia, your personal list?
I went back to this list with a question, and I had top 4 because that was with a question for us. And I did 4. So my number 1 was Rhea.
Okay, so your number 1. So my number 1 would be Rhea also, with the year she had.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a WWE fan, if WWE is in your wheelhouse, I think it has to be Rhea. Who's number 2? E, who you got number 2 on your list?
Timeless Toni Storm.
Timeless
Okay.
Toni. Toni Storm here too.
I didn't have Toni Storm as number 2 on my list.
Who did you have?
What you got?
Roxanne.
I'm
I
not
have
gonna
Roxanne
argue
on as number 2. Yep.
I'm not gonna argue that.
I
And
have Toni Storm 3rd.
okay, and then E, you got a 3, right?
Yeah, I got Jordan Grace.
I have Jordan Grace as my number 3.
Jordan who?
Grace.
Jordan
But
Gates.
And then I did 4 because the assignment was top 4, and I had Bianca as my number 4.
Oh, that's
Alright.
crazy. Now, Bianca shouldn't be 4
No.
this year.
Again, this was
but she
again,
damn sure
my
shouldn't
top,
be 34.
But this is my top. My top.
I know.
list, so
Now, question for you. What has Jordan Grace done for you, Rhodesia, for her to be 2nd? Because you don't really watch TNA. Is it just when you have watched her, you enjoy her, and that made her better than Bailey to you, then Io Sky to you, then Bianca Belair to you? Tell me a little bit about that.
I think it's more of what kind of she stands for. So I watched her in TNA when we went to the series. What is it called? So Battle of the Belts or Battle of the Belts. Bound for Glory, the series that we've seen her in. Her size, I follow her on the Twitter. I love what she brings as far as eyes to women's health and kind of just and muscular and muscles. And like, to me, I love that. I absolutely love muscles.
So then Jade should be your number 2.
and
Jade should be number 1.
And she was champion. She won the championship from what you call it, who went over to AEW. What's her name?
Naomi.
No.
No, you're talking about
Dark
Deanna.
hair. Yep.
Deonna Purrazzo, who was
Purrazzo.
number 39 on this list.
So she won it from Deonna Purrazzo, and then she made that jump kind of when that whole thing with the TNA having some ties with WWE at the beginning of the year, and then we saw her show up at NXT, and she had the pop and excitement there.
Okay,
and she's been holding it down for TNA. But it's all of that, and I love her look. I mean, I've always loved muscular women wrestlers. Beth Phoenix was like one of my favorite wrestlers. Lita was my favorite because she was a tomboy like me when I was growing up, but I always love muscular women because I feel like we can do what guys can do, but better.
Well, the majority of women are muscular. You mean big. You're talking about jacked. You're not right because Bianca's muscular. Jade is muscular. You're talking about.
Yeah, Bianca's a god.
You're talking about.
She's not even of this planet. So she's kind of like Alex Pereira. They're like not even of this world. Whereas Jordan Grace is from this world. She's just huge. But I love her.
The word came out, I think actually today, that her contract is up in January. I think it was supposed to be up in like July. And then something happened where now it's up in January. She is. If anybody is WWE bound, I wouldn't be surprised that damn contract ain't already signed.
Right. Yep.
See you in the Rumble, Jordan Grace.
Yep.
All right. So overall, PWI, thanks for giving us content, but trash ass list.
Trash.
This is still better than the men's, though. This is better than men's.
Man, oh, how the mighty have fallen. I remember, man, I know you can relate to, man. I remember being a kid.
Hell
that newsstand.
Go ahead.
And getting that PWI. Rhodesia, man, like this is way before you weren't even born back then. But look.
He said you wasn't born yet.
It's 2010, right?
No, this was the late 80s, baby. You just was probably crawling around at that time. But look, man, back in the day, like, I think PWI was like the first magazine to have the nice silky pages like throughout the entire magazine, right? Matt?
Yes.
What I mean by that, because Rhodesia, like most of the magazines back in the day,
black and white, right? Or
but most of it was black and white.
Yeah.
A lot of them was black and white. Yeah, some of them was black and white. Like so, in the front and back page was kind of like a nice, shiny, gloss paper. But then the inside was like your real, almost like not like card stock, but like construction paper almost.
Got it.
Like, what I'm saying?
It was high quality.
Hey, like
high quality.
Construction paper, but like PWI started getting you nice glossy paper throughout the entire magazine, which was legit.
It's like a nudie magazine then.
Yeah, and then it was just, I guess so. But then
they're glossy.
You stopped him in his tracks. You see?
I was like, I know I seen one, but like I had to think back.
Just seen one. You just seen one nudie magazine? Got it.
I see. I think I got into the tapes, man. The magazines ain't do it for me. The magazines ain't even do it for me.
But the magazines you found, that's how, of course, I got introduced. I found the magazines in the house. It was my parents. So magazine was first. I found those, and they had them all in the same spot. I was like, oh, this is the best bag I've ever seen in my entire life, boy. And then I found the videos in a whole nother spot, and they kept all the videos in the same spot. And then I fucked up because I watched the video too much, and the tape snapped. See, but then shout out to my dad, right? But he had showed me years, well, I ain't gonna say years, but like a year before that, one of my tapes broke. He showed me how to unscrew the tape and fix it. I tried to do that thing. It didn't work. And I was like, I'm just going to think they haven't watched this in a long time. But I know there's no way how I didn't, they had to have known. They never said anything to me about it, but I wouldn't.
Well, maybe the other one thought that the other one went hard on it, so maybe no pun intended. But maybe they weren't even in the picture.
Pause. Went hard, huh? Oh, pause.
I don't think so. But to your point about PWI, I just remember buying those magazines when this list came out, and so many wrestlers I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah, that's how you got familiar with them, right? Yeah. You see the ranking, like, oh, let me find out more about this guy. Like I remember even the PWI list. Rhodesia, they had like a rankings every month, and so they had like all the different like promotions, and so that's how like I started finding out about other companies. They had like the WWE like top 10, and they had the AWA top 10 and NWA top 10, USWA top 10, and they had all these different like promotions and top 10s. And so what would make me interested in them is because you would see guys that was on WWF TV at some point. Now they're over here. Or you see them in NWA and now they're over here. You're like, oh, what's he doing there? Right. So then you read the magazines to find out more about where they are. And then you can find the video somewhere. And that's how like that's why the beauty of the magazine. So now to see where they are now, to where they're coming out with trash lists, like trash lists. Like I
Clickbait.
don't look. I'm gonna tell you what. Like this way, I'll put Bianca over Athena all day.
Now let's think. I mean, so Athena has had the ROH championship damn near for a whole calendar year.
But ain't nobody see her.
Longest reigning.
Anybody
But
watching her
I know,
reign?
but I'm looking at the accolades. Bianca so far this year has only been a tag, right?
Yep.
So
I mean, let's talk about the
Maybe.
quality of competition in ROH. Like, do we know the quality of competition in ROH? Because it's behind
I
the damn
don't.
paywall. Do you mean tell me these
right.
the PWI goofball is paying $10 a month to watch her matches to assess that she has some of the highest caliber talent all year long? I doubt it.
They getting it for free. That's why.
Shit.
maybe I do have one thing to say about one of the women on the list. So I watched NXT on Tuesday. Stephanie Vaquer is even better than I thought she was. She's really good. Like, much better than I thought. You know, of course, once again, my only visibility to Stephanie was against Mercedes. And I gave Mercedes a lot of credit for that match being good. It takes two to tango. And it wasn't about, like, Tuesday night wasn't about a 5-star classic. But me watching her and me watching for things that I'm looking to see, can she adapt to? Is she adapt to? That girl's fantastic.
It's clean.
And-
it's a
and I
really
guess
clean with wrestles.
We're doing hot takes today, right? I got a hot take.
What's that?
I think she's much better than Julia right now. From what I've seen. I'm only going off of what I've seen so far in NXT.
And that's a very small sample size though. But
Right, we have
It
one.
is.
just as impressed as you were with her, I was very impressed with I can't think of her. Wentz, is that her last name? The girl in
You mean Ren?
the Catch Crew, Ren. What's her name?
Ren is
Ren
her
Wentz?
first name.
Yeah.
Ren, and I forgot the last name, but Ren, WREN is her
Yeah.
first name.
I thought she had a great showing in that match too.
She
Like,
did.
Her offense
She did.
and her selling and everything looked really crisp. And from a character standpoint, you know, she's really adding. I think she's adding character and she's being the glue to that team that she's with, because the team itself is kind of whack. But she's very entertaining. I think that she's somebody to look out for coming up for NXT. You know, she reminds me of she's the same type of wrestler, but she reminds me a lot of Cardona's wife, Chelsea.
Chelsea?
Has that comedic timing kind of,
I can see that.
you know, good looking tall
Utility
girl,
player.
right?
Maybe
But I think
she can do everything you may ask her to do. I
Yep.
can see that. Yeah. What'd you think about Nikita? She came back. I know she's worked a couple house shows before we saw her on television. What'd you think about her and Lola?
yeah, nothing stood out to me, to be honest with you. I thought the Stephanie and Ren match was better than that, but
I would agree with that, but I really like Nikita and Lola. I think that was, especially because it was like really mixed martial arts to kind of start the show, like the match with, and I actually really enjoy that. And then it transitioned more into like a wrestling match. I was really happy with how Nikita looked. I kind of been popping for her before she got hurt. I really like her again. I like the size. I like that she's able to be agile and go in the ring. I know you had mentioned a comment before that you wanted her to stay on the ground. And you
Keep
got it.
them feet
She
on
stayed
the
ground.
mat, girl. And she did. No high flying
Mhm.
moves.
hey, I
which I'm
got
glad
to tell y'all
see.
something though, man. I need to bring Sexy Red back, and I need her to host a competition with Lola Vice, Nikita, and Jada Parker. I want to see Sexy Red show them her dance, and I want her to teach the rest of them to emulate it. That's what we need on NXT on
Halloween Havoc.
Tuesdays. That's what we
Halloween
need.
Havoc.
I need a shake off. I need a shake
Getting
off.
sexy.
Now, I've already said like ratings are what they are. I did think it was hilarious, so I fast forwarded through, I think 3 segments of NXT. That rating came back horrible too. I was like, I guess I
Oh,
wasn't the
wow.
only one. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
first 2 weeks were fantastic, and yep, Tuesday's show not so much.
I
But they
will say
didn't
one
book it
thing-
like they didn't book it for a show where you have to watch. It was some really good stuff in there. I cannot
that's
wait
where
for
they
that
live,
tag
we should
that
watch
women's
them.
tag match. That's going to be fantastic. But some of that stuff, I was like, yeah, this is not UPN caliber. You could have kept that on
You know what?
USA.
They can't hot shot every show, right? You would hope that they kind of built in a new audience, right? Like the people who tuned in to see the special guests, Sexy and Bianca and Jade, and CM Punk, the show before that. You will hope that they will stick around because they want to see more of the channel that's consistently on the show. But what only time will tell. But I think they did fine. I mean, it's NXT, right? That show that we saw on Tuesday wasn't unlike any other show that we saw on USA, right? Now, I do think that, and it's great that they had that great rating, but that show's hard to find. Like, right? I don't have that channel in my lineup on Sling, so I have to watch it on the CW app the next day. So, like, my view isn't necessarily being counted, towards that rating, and they're still heavily pushing the CW app in this show, right? So,
Yeah,
I guess they're getting what they want.
And that's overall with just ratings, right? Like, think about how many people probably watch it on the USA Net, like Raw. You know what I'm saying? Or they watch, whatever. But yeah, that's just kind of what that looks like. But overall, I did enjoy NXT. It's just a fun show to watch. It's just a super fun show.
I want to get back to what you said about Stephanie and Julia. And I think they're both, at least for me and my fandom, wrestling. I think they're like ability
That's more
from
than one royal family.
Yeah. So we have the wrestling ability as far as what I've seen in the ring between the two of them, which again is super small sample size. I think I maybe like Stephanie's style a little bit more wrestling because again it's a little cleaner, a little harder, a little stiffer. With Julia's a little bit more animated. A little more animated. My only concern, and I don't want to call it a concern, but I want to see how in development to when they make it to the main card, how their on the mic skills is going to come out. Because there is an accent there. I wonder how that's going to get played out and how can we keep them still sharp and strong. Like, because they've done a good job with EO. For a moment, I thought that would have been kind of tough for her talking on the mic, but there's been times they would do that, the cut where she's talking in just Japanese. And I love that. I think even Stephanie was speaking in Spanish for a moment too, which I like. I think I actually like that more when they talk in their native tongue, because again, we understand what they're saying. We've watched enough wrestling to know.
No, give me subtitles. As long as you give me subtitles, you can talk in your native. You don't give me subtitles though.
No, you don't even have to give me subtitles. I can appreciate what you just said there.
I'm not gonna hit you with the what chant because I hate the what chant, but I'll definitely hit you with the because I have no idea.
You've watched enough wrestling. You know exactly what they're saying. But I want to see how the mic, how that is going to play out, because you have two incredible, huge talents in Stephanie and Julia.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, I hope that NXT has. I don't think they do, but I think they need to get dialect coaches and teachers to help these guys and gals come over, learn English. Help
they
me
do.
Too.
They have tutors.
Because if you think about like EO. You can understand her, but she can't cut a full promo. I feel like they can get tutors, teachers that within a year's time, they should be able to cut full length, decent promos.
But I want them, but I would want them to, right, for sure. Yes, to that. Again, that's me being selfish because I speak English as a primary language, but I just want passionate promos. So again, if it's in their native tongue, I'm fine with that, because for me, I really don't hear the words a lot of times. I just hear the passion. I heard Beast when they mentioned the Beast on Raw, but usually I just feel the passion from them. So if Stephanie is cutting it or Julia's cutting it, or EO's cutting it, EO's always going hard, and it's just how I feel when she's cutting a promo. But agree, I think that maybe I don't want to come on here and make it sound like they need to learn English. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I want them to, when it comes, because we know as a wrestler, the mic is one of the biggest things. Some people will argue that's the most important thing as far as your wrestling career, how they're going to be on the mic later.
Exactly. But I'm saying it for that very reason, that they need to learn English, because they need to be able to cut a promo. Like that's what this now Nakamura, right? Nakamura actually speaks very good English, right? I think his thing is almost like Andrade. They have such a thick accent that you can't always understand them. But Nakamura speaks perfect English. But I think they'll be capped at a certain level. Like, I don't think Julia or Stephanie will be able to get to the level of a Bianca or a Rhea without being able to connect with people on the microphone.
No, but that's okay, I think, because what you don't want to do is just force everybody to just speak English and get rid of their native tongue. And I think they are.
Oh, you're never going to
be
do
able
that,
to speak
though. I mean,
English. Yeah, you know what I mean. But like Asuka, we love Asuka. To your point about that, because that how big Bianca is, Rhea, like they transcend the ring. That's why they're so big. These girls, women, they'll be that big in their country. Of course, they'll be big in the United States too.
Right.
But it's just a difference. Like UFC fighters who, when they sit down and for their, pre-tapes, they speak in there and then the subtitles are there. I think that's fine. And I think luckily with Triple H and Shawn at the helm, we know they're going to be protected properly, opposed to Vince, where it was like, if you can't cut a English promo, then I can't use you. So at least we're done with that. Let's transition real quick before we get out of here to AEW. I don't have anything on WrestleDream. I didn't see it. But what I do have is just looks like there's going to be a creative shakeup. We, of course, are taping during Dynamite. So as soon as we're done, I'm going to watch Dynamite because I'm interested to see how they come back from WrestleDream. Jimmy Jacobs is gone off the creative team. Allegedly, it was a mutual decision for him to leave. I don't know there's rumors about what he contributed, what he didn't contribute. But all I have to say is I don't want anybody to ever lose their job. But this is a great thing if the creative team is going to be revamped or streamlined or whatever you got to say for AEW's creative to get to where I think it needs to get to and where it should get to. Once again, I don't want Jimmy Jacobs out of a job, but looks like here, like I said, once again, creative shakeup, and which tells you they know there's a miss. They know that something's missing. One thing I will say, and then I'll leave it to you because you saw WrestleDream. If there's anything you want to talk about, Bryan Danielson retires. It looks like his full-time in-ring career. He may wrestle again, but allegedly, you always gotta say allegedly. You can't trust Bryan as far as you can throw him. But
well, if you're not trusting Bryan and who?
Cody's a liar too. They're both liars. They're both liars. Got it. He needs surgery on his neck.
Ooh.
But this is where this is, without harping and going too hard on AEW, this is the misses when it comes to creative. There was more creative surrounding Bryan's potential last match being at Wembley than it was at WrestleDream. And no, you can't do a Sting type retirement for everybody. No, you can't do a Ric Flair type retirement against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania for everybody. But I'll be damned if Bryan should have gotten some, and I know and I'm sure Bryan didn't want it, right? It's all about, I get all that, but you said earlier, sometimes the coach needs to tell the player where they're best positioned. And I know Bryan personally wanted Moxley to beat him and retire him for the championship, continue the story, have the company in a better position. But that's one of those, if Bryan Danielson is wrestling his last full-time match, that should be known without being known if you want to keep it to what it was. But that's when a lot more people would tune in and buy the pay-per-view. Now, me personally, I still wouldn't have watched. I tweeted out on Saturday, I'm not watching. We were out on Saturday night. And I said, outside of, I think, 2 matches, I'm just not emotionally invested in that show. I didn't care. And I kept up with it on, Twitter for the most part. And that was enough. That's the first AEW pay-per-view in history I didn't watch. First AEW pay-per-view in history I didn't watch live. They've been around for years. And I'm sure I'm not maybe I'm in the minority. I don't think so, though. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do on tonight's show. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do going forward creatively because they need help. They need help in creative. They have way too much talent. for me not to watch a pretty big pay-per-view because I'm not emotionally invested in what they're showing. And I know the matches are going to be great, right? Like, that's what I heard. Show was fantastic. Matches were great. I get a lot of great matches. That triple threat match, was it on NXT?
Triple way. It's a triple way.
The triple threat match, the main event. Fantastic match. I don't know how I feel about Ethan Page when I knew he was going to win, but I don't know if we need to see him and Trick again. But we get great matches on every show that we watch. I need more. I need much more. So here's to AEW figuring that out. But what's your guys' thoughts about the alleged AEW creative shakeup? And then anything from WrestleDream that you saw that you really, really liked or you really, really didn't like?
Man, sometimes Rhodesia, your husband, he's like a 3-hour Raw being squeezed in 2 hours. He gives you like so much talking points and content that you gotta like take notes. Like,
see,
right?
what did you say? I'm a finely tuned computer up here.
Highly tuned.
Well, you used to that shit. You sleep right next to his ass. So you used to like him.
I know exactly what he asked.
Cutting a 10-minute promo and having like 20 different talking points in there. And then and then roll back to you. It's like, I'm an old man. I ain't got
my bad. You know what? Next time I do that, stop me. Let's have a conversation. If I say something, just jump in. Just hop in and let's get this thing going.
I'm a very polite man. I can't interrupt people. I like to let them finish their statement. But let's go to creative. So Rhodesia, this has been a lot of talk both ways. Like, this is a good thing or bad thing that Jimmy Jacobs is gone. And some people are saying there's been a kind of a smear job to kind of make him seem like he was a problem within the company, and it's like good riddance, right? But a lot of people who work with Jimmy Jacobs over the years say he's like one of the most brilliant, creative minds in the industry. He's very hardworking, good guy to know. Had a lot of great ideas. He actually, this might not help his cause, but he played a big hand in Chris Jericho's learning tree stuff.
Dude, they said every segment he has his hands all over. I was like, oh, you know what?
Yeah, and so here's what we know about Chris Jericho. If Chris Jericho didn't like it, he wouldn't do it, right? So he actually was like, yeah, this is good stuff, right? So obviously, Chris Jericho was one of the guys that didn't like him. But there was some information going out that he thought the push of like Daniel Garcia was laughable. He was kind of against it or something like that. So like, again, this is all in the dirt sheet, so we don't actually know what's true or not. Hopefully, he's actually friends with Conan and Disco, and Conan and Disco are very honest in their commentary of wrestling. They've been kind of, some people say anti-AEW, but I don't think that they say what's on their mind. Maybe he might go on that show, he might talk, but maybe he has an NDA, so he can't say anything. But there's people who know Jimmy and they're saying like, yo, he has a great creative mind. But this is what we're kind of finding out about AEW. Even Marshall, what's his name? What's his first two letters? QT Marshall. Like, right? He said in an interview, he was like, man, look, I don't have to agree with everything. Like, right, I have a job to do. My boss wants certain things, right? So I can express my opinion, but ultimately it's my job to give my boss the best of what he's looking for. Right? So what I keep hearing is that Tony Khan has a certain vision for his company, like, right? And it's the people underneath him to kind of realize that vision and make it as best as possible, right? Maybe Tony and Jimmy's vision didn't mesh, right? So when we talk about television, something has to change. I don't know if something's going to change. I don't think that Jimmy was the problem. Like, right, and there's talks about how important he was to the show. There's some that say he had a lot to do with the show. There's a lot of people who say he didn't have a lot to do with the show. So we don't really know, but we know that the consistent thing is Tony Khan. So this show is going to go as far as Tony Khan wants it to go. And Tony Khan has come out repeatedly and said that this show is for the sickos. Like, right? He got triple the rights fees on this latest contract. It's only a 3-year contract, so we'll see what's up. But we do know that he has to support at WBD. They're happy with the ratings that they were getting. I think it's right in line to what they're looking for. So I don't know. We're going to see much of a shakeup as far as what we see on the TV. I think what we see is what we're going to get as long as Tony Khan's there. At the end of the day, I think Tony Khan has a vision. I think that when he stops having fun doing wrestling, that's when I say you see the demise of AEW. I think this show, as long as Tony Khan is doing something he's proud of and that he feels true to himself as a fan, I think we're going to keep seeing what we see. That's the same thing with Vince. Like, right, Vince was doing a show that was true to him. He thought he knew what was best for business, best for his show. So I don't think it matters who they bring in. I think the shows that we get are always going to be shows that we get. As far as WrestleDream, again, I only watched half the show. Actually, I was relieved that we had to do a show around it. So I was like, you know what? It was getting late. So I'm like, I'm going to turn this bad boy off. I saw what I wanted to see. I turned off the show after the Hurt Business. I don't know what their official name is. They came out and they confronted
Syndicate. Is it Hurt Syndicate?
That's the rumors. I'm not sure that's what they're being called yet, to be honest with you. I haven't watched the show. But I did really enjoy that segment with Swerve and the Hurt Syndicate, Hurt Business, whatever they're calling it. I think that MVP is gold on the microphone. Like, right? Like, him, I think that's another Triple H miss. I'm not sure where the disconnect was with MVP and Triple H, but listening to him on the microphone, he is great. He is phenomenal. He is an awesome mouthpiece and occasional wrestler. I think that was a miss, right? They also, Swerve was a miss as well for WWE, right? But that was Vince's decision to get rid of him. But I don't think that the Swerve that we would have gotten in WWE's when we're getting AEW. Guy. I think the creative, the blank canvas, the creative freedom definitely allows him to explore and give it to Swerve that we're getting. I think I actually am looking very much forward to their potential feud. I like what Shelton Benjamin did. I know you guys didn't see him, but he kind of came out there for one of the first times in a long time. He seemed to have like some presence out there to me. Like the grizzly veteran, right?
Love to see that.
He looked very serious. Swerve gave him some props and said, like, look, man, and this is one thing I like about another thing I like about the actual segment. He said that, that you are a wrestler that makes other black wrestlers proud. And I'm like, yeah, hit it, give Sheldon his flowers, right? But then it goes awry. Oh, they did this thing with Swerve. He said as he's trying to go back and forth, he's going to join the Hurt Business. He's like, yeah, Nana, like you've been kind of messing up, man. Like I don't know if I can roll with you no more, right? And kind of doing this little back and forth thing to where he's like kind of like saying, Nana, you've been messing up. But at the end of the day, you family, and I'm never going to turn my back on family. And then he gets in MVP's face for whatever reason, right? Because MVP is just saying like, yo, come with us, you should be bigger than you are. We take it to the next level. I'm not sure why he took it from 0 to 100, because MVP didn't disrespect the man at all. Like, right, he actually was giving him props, and then he ended up pushing Shelton. So now that it's going to be a feud with Swerve and the Hurt Business. I'm all for it.
Gonna beat this
I love the
shit
segment.
Oh boy, I like that. Okay, so you didn't see the main event. You didn't see Mox and Bryan.
Oh no, I wasn't interested in that. I was good.
Did you see the triple threat match? What'd you think about? Did you see that one? Takeshita, Ospreay, and Ricochet?
Oh, I did actually. Yep. Good match. As you know, I would be. I think I'm going to actually watch this Dynamite because I think that they finally pulled the trigger on Don Callis and the family. Because Don Callis is another guy. Like, man, he is a great heel, and I think he has a great. If you look at his lineup, like of guys in his stable. He got some guys, man. Look, I think they need to go ahead and pull the trigger all the way on Kyle Fletcher. Man, he looks phenomenal. He has a great look. He can go in the ring. And he has Don as a manager. Like, he finally turned on Will to kind of set that up. So he's full-fledged heel right now. They finally got, Will Ospreay away from the Don Callis family. It's not that, where I'm kind of still with you. We're still kind of friends type thing. They finally pulled the trigger on Will Ospreay, getting the beat down from his former best friend, Kyle Fletcher, Takeshita, who's been underutilized for the past decade, is finally has a championship. Like, right now, the championship again doesn't mean a whole lot, but hey, look, at least he has a title. So it looks like they're finally kind of moving forward, giving him a little bit of a push. They look like they're putting some gas on Kyle, and they got fully fledged Don Hill as a heel. So we're probably going to see Ospreay and Ricochet against the family, and then we all know that well, we don't all know, but Lance Archer is in the group now. So you got Archer, you got Kyle Fletcher, you got Takeshita, right? Against Ricochet and Will Ospreay. I mean, it should be a good feud. So there's some things happening in AEW that should give you some interesting TV. It just depends on how they can convey these stories and these characters.
That's always been the story with AEW.
Yeah.
Matt, you asked the question. The two questions you asked was kind of the creative shakeup and WrestleDream.
Mhm.
So, from my coach of a lifetime, Mr. Dan Campbell said, when it was to cut
Hey, let's go, baby.
people, when it was to
You know
cut
what it
people.
is? Lion shirt. Hey, any Cowboy fans, y'all suck on it. You take that. You take that. What y'all did to us last year, you take that. What y'all did to us
Y'all
the
and
year
the
before that, you take that. You take that ass whooping. In Minnesota, you got any Minnesota fans? We coming for you like Booker T told Hogan. Come for y'all this Sunday, baby. Let's go.
Huge.
Granted, we need Hutchinson. We need a replacement.
Yeah,
I'm
and
a little worried about that.
So
A little worried
but
about
again,
that.
hey,
But yes.
Dan Campbell,
Dan Campbell said.
He talked about that these guys are playing hard. The question came up on how do you decide who you cut, and he just said at the end of the day it's still business. So I don't know Jimmy Jacobs from a lineup, so I have no idea who this guy is, and it sounds like he's been in the industry for a while, so he's gonna land softly whatever he decides on next in his life. So this is something that's needed. It's just business. This is what we've been getting. Whether they call you the fall guy, we know this happens in companies all the time. You got one person to be the fall person. Whatever, he just be the fall guy. WrestleDream, did not watch a minute of it, a video package of it, anything even on the internet. But what I will say was when I said I thought that Moxley was going to be Bryan Danielson's legacy, I didn't mean literally that would be his final match. I did think that was going to continue longer. Would I have still bought the pay-per-view? Probably not, but I would have liked to have known that this was his final match. I feel, again, I didn't watch it, but I kind of feel a little bit hurt and kind of betrayed because I didn't show up for Bryan when I probably should have, because I did care about his career. So that's all I have to say on WrestleDream.
But don't feel that way. They didn't get you excited to watch it. And the crazy part is I didn't miss it. That's when I knew I was
but
like, uh-oh.
But I do.
Uh-oh.
I missed it. Like me finding out that he got retired by Moxley.
No, I'm talking about like the entire show. Yeah, it'd have been good to see that. Got it. You didn't go out of your way and was like, oh shit, I gotta go watch that match now because that was Bryan's last match. No. That's a scary spot to be in. Of course, I'm always gonna be checking for AEW. I already got tickets for them when they come here for Thanksgiving Eve. Actually, but that's more of like our family tradition now. I think we've done it like 4 years or 5 years on Thanksgiving Eve. So like that I'm just going to continue to do because I feel like that's part of our holiday thing now. But that's a scary thing when there's a pay-per-view that happens and overall critically people are saying it was a good show. And I am like, yeah, I didn't miss it. What's happening on Raw Monday? What's happening on NXT Tuesday? I'll tune in to Dynamite, see what that looks like on Wednesday. That's an issue.
Hey, freaks, you guys see the heel turn here? You guys remember for months on end, I was the hater, and because I was saying these pay-per-views weren't really, progressing characters and storylines, and something needs to be changed, and AEW just isn't for you. Now, people ain't even watching the show no more. The tables have turned. Darkness.
I think we need to have, and this is just in the world in general, you need to clearly define what a hater really is. Because someone said that they didn't watch pay-per-view and they didn't miss it, doesn't mean that they are a hater.
Ain't no hating.
See, you see these heels? I said heels. I didn't say hater. So you heard they hear what they want to hear.
Heels.
They like
what heel is not a hater?
This is the heels. This is the heels for you, right? They're always trying to make it something that it's not. Heels.
I gotta watch that show. It is now on Netflix.
I heard, yeah.
I haven't heard one person say that show is not great.
I heard it's good.
I heard it's great.
Yeah,
I gotta get on that. Yeah. I gotta watch that. But yeah. Anyway, I still haven't watched the Vince. I know a couple people have asked me my thoughts on it. I haven't watched the doc yet. I watched the first episode. I thought it was okay. Like, I don't expect to see anything new, really, about it, but I'm more watching just in terms of seeing how they presented and such. I didn't think it was bad. Now, did it make me want to go and watch more? No, it didn't. So actually, I may not get to it. But
is it like pro Vince or is it kind of anti Vince?
Neither yet.
Okay, so it's still okay. Got it.
Yeah, it's more of a documentary. But I gotta tell y'all something, man. It's funny coming from me. Actually, I like horror movies, right? I mean, I just don't like evil spirits, man. Like real life evil spirits. Like I don't want to see him. I don't need to know anything. I don't need to understand him. I'm like I don't need and again we as fans right we actually are the Tony Khan sicko fans, right? We eat, breathe wrestling. We know all the stories. We've heard it. So I'm not going to learn anything new by watching it. I feel like I'm going to lose some of my soul watching this evil ass man on my TV screen. To be honest with you, man, I'm good on that. But I do real quick though, Rasheed, I'll let you go. I am happy that it is October, Scaretober, right? There are some great horror movies I want to get into. I want to watch. So I do, but at least those are fake evil entities versus real ones. Like
what is a scary movie you have to watch?
I can't think of the top of my head, but I do want to see that movie that you guys, the little girl, the vampire thing. I wanted to watch that. There's a couple of them. I can't think of them right now, but there's quite a few. The ballerina,
the vampire. That was fun.
Stop, no.
That was cool. Watch
That's
that
not
one.
A scary movie. That's not a scary movie. That's a comedy.
No, it isn't a comedy. It's horror comedy.
It was a comedy. It was a comedy. Heavy on the comedy.
We just watched. It was on Max. It was done by M. Night.
Oh my God!
It wasn't
Cattle
bad.
Lake.
Yes.
Cattle Lake was
not bad. If you are into,
fantastic.
it's more science fiction
And thriller sci-fi.
but it's got some horror thriller in it. I would recommend it.
That's like a lot of his movies.
It's pretty good, yeah. And they stuck the landing.
They did. Because here's
a
the thing,
lot of his movies.
I can't give it
start off.
Yeah.
Boy,
well, what did you?
5-star.
The one with Dave Bautista in it.
That was Cabin in the Woods, I think, right,
Okay.
or something like that.
Something like that. Oh, that was
wasn't bad either.
phenomenal. I loved that one.
That wasn't bad either.
I hated Bautista in that movie at that point. By that
Really?
time in the movie, yeah, but good.
You've seen it, right?
Such a great job. He did such a
Yeah, I
great
saw
job.
it. Yeah, absolutely. I saw
Okay,
it.
yeah, I mean, he had to do what he had to do. We'll
It's
leave
funny
it at that.
because
Anybody who
my
hasn't seen it.
my question was actually around horror stuff, and we're coming up on Halloween. Let me ask y'all a question: would you Candyman or Bloody Mary, whatever it is, would you say the Bloody Mary the 3 times, 5 times, or 10 times in the mirror?
Sure.
Or have you done it? I think Matt, you're bad, but probably
I'm
actually did
sure
do
I
it.
have. Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely did Candyman.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, E, would you do it?
I'm not watching Vince McMahon. I'm not saying Candyman or Bloody Mary. Multiple times.
I would never, ever in a mirror say the Bloody Mary or Candyman. How many ever times you're supposed to say it?
Nope.
Never, ever. Nope.
Y'all weak, man.
But you use
All right, let's get out of here.
board. You use a Ouija board. I wouldn't.
I
say
sure
a Ouija
did.
board.
And
I
that
don't
was
think-
crazy.
Yeah.
If anybody has ever used a Ouija board, it works. Believe me. All right, we done. We wrapping. That's it. That's all. Love you guys. We are out. We'll be back next week. I didn't even plug the socials at the beginning. We talked about a lot. Put it in the comments so we can talk about it next week. If you watch on YouTube, y'all know where we are. That's Freakin' Wrestling. Twitter, that's FNW. Instagram, we're there. I got to figure out TikTok. My guy, Bushman, has been on my head about getting on TikTok. I got to figure that out. We got to figure that out.
You know what? Bushman should do our TikTok and Eric should do our Instagram. Boom.
I've been waiting for Eric to be like, look,
It's
you shout
off.
me out every time on this.
It's
He
off.
ain't doing it.
Hey,
It's
and for free.
He busy traveling the
And
world.
for
though.
free, please.
For free. For free.
He busy traveling the world.
He is.
So, God bless. All right, y'all. We out. Love you guys. See you next week.